Welcome to Everything's Fucked podcast, where you haven't been fucked till you've heard everything's fucked. You're listening to Monica,
And Asia.
and today we're going to be talking about your inner voice. Because everyone's got one, and she's probably a bitch. So it's all we're going to be talking about today. And what do you think, Asia? You
I think
ready?
it's going to
You
be
ready for this?
a good episode.
Yeah, same. All right. So where do you want to start?
You know, most people have an inner voice, and the inner voice either never shuts up or you're really good at ignoring it. One or the other. That's all you got.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I really listen to mine regularly, like picking myself apart all the
Me too.
time. Like the dialogue just never goes away. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard. I think once I had my daughter, I really wanted to listen to it less. So
Yeah.
I've been trying to, as an adult, like how do I quiet that? So I think this is going to be a good episode to talk about that.
Yeah. I think we're going to be able to help some people and help ourselves even a little bit. Get to the bottom of why we have the inner voice and, the self-hate and the rhetoric that we tell ourselves every day and how we can control it and get through it and actually, even stop it.
Yeah, I agree. So, for me personally, I feel like mine started kind of like in early childhood, listening to like a lot of negative feedback from parents and, people like caregivers and things like that telling me, you're not good enough or you aren't, you know, doing things correctly. You're not perfect. Your grades aren't good. I don't like the way you're doing this. I don't like the way you're doing that. And really internalizing a lot of that. I mean, really, I'm just going to jump right into it. Basically, just hearing from my parents, that I wasn't measuring up. And I think hearing that at such a young age was really detrimental for me. So I just took a lot of that and I just kept it and I held on to it. And when you don't hear the positive feedback from people who are
Yeah.
supposed to be, encouraging you, you don't know anything different. And so for me, I just took all of that negativity and was like, oh, okay, well, this is who I am. I'm not good at things. I'm not smart enough. I'm not, pretty enough or whatever. And that was the dialogue that I got. And so I've carried that into adulthood. And that's the inner voice that I live with
Yeah. And,
most
I
times.
think everybody has that because we were all raised, well, I know I was raised the same way. Like I was told I was pretty and I was told I was smart and stuff, but I also was criticized all the time, belittled, talked down to just because I was a child. I think that once your inner voice or your inner dialogue gets so many negatives, you can't really find a positive. So you just start to tell yourself everything they told you over and over, like on a record. So, um, yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think there's a lot of people that had that
Yeah, I
issue.
think too, like relationships also, cement that as well. So, like, even if you're not hearing it from, childhood, divorces, really traumatic breakups, or relationship trauma, those start to cement those ideas too. And relationships are really hard in and of themselves as well. So, even if your childhood ends up being, okay, your parents are great and lovely, if you end up being in a relationship that, your partner doesn't lift you up in a positive way, you start hearing those negative feedbacks, or even maybe you're just not getting any positive feedback, you start internalizing things like that as well. I'm not pretty because he's not telling me that, or maybe I'm not good at these things, or she's not telling me that, and things like that. So you start hearing those types of negative feedback loops as well. So um, I think a lot of people, and I think women in particular, do. I think men as well. I've heard men talk
I don't
about
think men
having
share.
that.
I don't think men share openly about their dialogue.
No.
I don't think, and I think they hold it in and they almost like safeguard it because it's
Yeah.
their, you know what I mean? Whereas we are more like open about, oh my God, I feel like shit. Or, we'll say it out loud. Men just don't want to
I
burden
think
anybody.
that has to do a lot too with the masculinity thing. Like men are not really told they can share their emotions the way that
Exactly.
women can,
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
So
No, to go back on the divorce thing. I mean, if you are in a relationship where you don't feel like you're pretty, you're being told you're pretty, or that you're a good mother, or that you're putting in and you're like a partner, like a teammate. If you don't feel that, then your inner voice is going to start sabotaging you. It's going to start
Oh,
putting in all these
yes.
bad thoughts and say, you know what? Maybe because he doesn't say it, maybe I'm not. Maybe because he doesn't show it, maybe it's me. And you'll really, find yourself in that stuck
Yeah.
in that spot.
The good mother thing, it's really interesting that you said that one because I feel like a lot of women who are mothers feel that one pretty deeply because that's one thing that you really don't hear a lot of praise for. I mean, there's there's not a there's not very many
Mother's Day,
people
Mother's
go
Day.
yeah, you
That's when
get
we
it for
fucking
Mother's
hear
Day.
it, bro. Mother's Day.
There's you don't go around hearing all the time like, "Oh, what a wonderful mother you are," or, "Thank you so much for
And you don't
all
hear
you
it
do as a
from
mother."
men very often. You hear it from other
No.
women, other mothers that see
Yeah, and
what
it's
you're putting
usually, like,
in.
when you're struggling, yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
you're at
it's
the
like, "Oh,
grocery
let me lift
store
you
and
up."
you got
Yeah.
two toddlers and they're screaming and they're like, "You're a good mom. You
Yeah,
got
it's
this."
okay, you can do this, it's fine, don't worry
That's when
about
you
it.
hear it. Yeah.
Yeah,
My husband's really
it's
good about
great.
saying it to me. He is, because I think, I had the first child. I had such a hard go of it. He sees how much I need to hear that I'm a good mom. And so he does say it pretty often to me. I'm not gonna lie.
That's good.
I'm pretty blessed in that, but I know a lot of women don't have it. I know my mom didn't get that. Um, so yeah, I think that a lot of women need to hear it more often.
That's good. I think, hearing it regularly, for mothers is something that should be celebrated and definitely more normalized and encouraged.
It
So
would it would definitely, help with the mom guilt too, because I think that
oh yes.
mom guilt is a huge thing, and that a lot of women have it. And that's the inner voice where even if you had like 10 good mom days in a row and you put them all together and you haven't yelled and you haven't had to discipline and you've gotten them all their snacks and you've gotten them their teeth brushed and in bed on time, and you'll just have that one bad day where you're cussing and you're like,
Yeah.
no, and you're yelling and you forget to brush their teeth and they only had cereal for dinner. And then that night, you will pick yourself apart. You're not going to say,
Yeah.
oh, well, I had 10 good days, Asia. No, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Asia?
Yeah.
You
What am
could
I
have done
doing? Why am I
better.
bothering? Yeah.
Yeah, like I could have done better. I should have done better. I know better. You know what I mean? And so you'll play all that over and over and you'll get yourself sick with it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know I do.
definitely. I I do too. I think you and I have talked about this before. I don't for me personally, I don't get a lot of mom guilt. That's one of the things that for me is just not something that I have a lot of, but I do have a lot of like personal, you know, self-doubt and negativity and like I'm not doing this right and I'm not doing that right and I know I can make better decisions and I do pick myself apart in the things that I do. I never feel like really guilty about decisions that I make, but I do know that there's decisions that I could have made better ones and things that I
Yeah.
could do better and I
You
will
see
sit
you
there
see where
and
yeah, you
I will
see
spin on them. Yeah. And
yeah.
I feel uh like a lot of self-doubt in the things that I'm doing and how I'm doing them. And I will go into like a spiral of just negativity and how I'm thinking about
But you don't
myself.
have the guilt though. Why do you
No,
think
I
it is
don't
that
have
you
the
don't
mom
have the
guilt.
guilt? Why do you think that that's just missing from your, you know?
Um, I think I just know that I'm doing the best that I can with what I have been given and how I've learned how to do things. And I think from Ramona's like very young toddler years, I just realized that I don't know what I'm doing as a parent. And I think having that like little like flip of a switch when she was really young and just recognizing that every single day is a learning day for me, just like every single day is a learning day for her. And when I wake up in the morning, I know that whatever I experience with her is going to be a new experience. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing as a parent, just like she doesn't know what she's doing as a kid. And we're just learning this together. And
That's a good
even if
philosophy. It's a good way to look at it,
yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
even if I had multiple kids, which I only have Ramona, I'm one
I
and
think
done.
that
So
plays
I'm
into your mom guilt
yeah,
too, though. You don't have to take from one to feed the other. You don't have to,
yes.
do special. You wouldn't, if you had more than one child, since she does have
Oh,
ADHD,
it
you would
definitely
have
might be
one that is like a
different.
neurotypical child like me. And then you'd be having to steal time from that neurotypical child to give it to You know what I mean? The not
Yeah.
typical child. And it does hurt. It sucks. And then you have guilt from that. So that saved you, I think, having just the one, you know what
I
I
think
mean? From at
so.
least
Yeah.
that part of it. Yeah. I
I
had
definitely
guilt.
think you're right.
I had guilt from very early on with Rebecca. My guilt was so bad that it's given me PTSD now because I never felt like I did good enough with her. It's just it is what it is. I was very young when I had her, and so my mom guilt. I think every day when you go to bed and you're like, I didn't do it. I wasn't hitting the mark with her. I'm not making progress. She's not taking her meds, or she's not getting any better at school, and I would just take it out on myself that now, like, now that she's gone and she's moved on and I have my other kids, I can't handle any kind of mom guilt. I can't even handle a little bit because it's very
Yeah.
triggering for me.
I can imagine that that would make it, so much harder, for your inner voice, like your self-doubt and, like how you feel about yourself and the way that you parent your kids. And then ADHD is like on its own kind of beast, right? Because it makes it so much more difficult to parent a child.
Yes.
Any diversity does, and then for that child too, they have their own negative loop that they go through, right? Because
Well,
they get so much,
you're
yeah, they get so
constantly
much negative
yeah,
feedback
you're
too,
criticizing
so
them. You're
all
constantly
the time.
redirecting. You're constantly trying to over explain, re explain, show, because they don't remember what they learned yesterday and they're on to the next all the time. So you're
Yeah.
always redoing, and they hear all the time how shitty they are. They hear how
Well,
all their, what is it? I don't know.
faults. We
There it
struggle
is.
with that.
Faults.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
struggle with
that's a
that
good
at
word.
home too. And then I think that really exacerbates like how I feel like negatively about myself, because then as I'm parenting her, like I see where she starts feeling really negative about herself, and then I start thinking like, oh, like I'm contributing to that with all of her negative feedback that she's getting from
Yeah.
us, and where she's getting that from, like teachers at school and her peers and things like that, and then I'm contributing to that, and then that makes me feel really negative. And so that's like kind of a vicious cycle too, so
It is.
that's
It is. I
sucks.
was in it with Rebecca also. I think it's a normal situation for any person that's raising somebody with ADHD.
Yeah.
But I wish I could go back, of course, and say, focus on all the positives she was doing, even though there was only like five things. You know what I mean? And there
Yeah,
was
like, but those 5
25
things could have been, yeah,
negatives.
so
But
much.
I could
Yeah,
have gone in harder on those five things and helped her with her inner voice and not been so, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to even word it,
yeah.
if you know what I mean.
No, I definitely do. Uh, I I feel like when I listen to my negative voice, there's so many things that, like, it stops me from doing, which I find so frustrating because I don't think that's not the type of person that I wanna be. Like, I don't wanna, like, dwell in, the negativity. Like, I wanna find positive things to think about. And so, what are what are some negative things like that your voice tells you that you wouldn't be good at, or that you shouldn't do, that you really wanted to do? Do you have any examples?
I think there's a few in my life. Right now, the only thing that I think my negative inner voice is telling me not to do is make the cookbook that I've been dreaming about for like almost a
Yeah.
year. Um, since 2020, I've been wanting to expand my cooking page and stuff, but my inner voice tells me a lot that, well, who's going to want to watch that? And your recipes are kind of lame. And who's really going to buy your book, your recipes when you pretty much stole them from everybody? And, like who's going to care? And so I tell myself, no, I'm like, no, don't do it. It's not worth it. Um, I let that inner voice win way too often. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I I feel like I want to see you do something like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be exciting.
Yeah.
I also have my regular book, the book that I've been working on for ever, about my childhood and my life and everything. But that one is going to be hard to produce because I would be grab my mom and my baby daddy and just throw them under the bus by their legs, just
Right?
throw them under. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
kind of hesitant to do that because I would be putting everybody's past in a book. It wouldn't just be
Yeah.
my past. It'd be quite a few people. And I'm not sure if I want to,
You're right. You're quite ready for that.
I'm
I
not
think
sure I
you
want to
should do
rock
one
the
day.
boat like that right
I
now.
think you should do it one day. I mean, maybe like start like writing it, and then just
Yeah.
like whenever you're like ready to
Yeah. When
release
everyone,
it, you could just like,
when everyone's dead and gone and I'm
yeah,
70, then I'll be like,
I
okay,
know,
now's the time.
seriously.
I feel comfortable now. I finally feel comfortable.
I think it's something that you should do.
I agree. I agree. Well, what's one thing that's, what's your thing?
This actually is my thing. The podcast is my thing. I feel like I have wanted to do this for years. It's been like 3 years probably.
3
It's been
years. Wow.
something
It's
that
a
I've
long
wanted to
time.
do. Yeah.
I'm so proud of
I
you. I mean, honestly, for putting
Thanks.
one foot in front of the other and you're making your dreams happen.
I know. I'm like
It's
really
very
excited
good.
about it. I have been wanting to do this for so long, and it's always been like the same kind of thing where I listen to myself and I'm like, who would ever want to listen to me talk about anything?
Yeah. Why would they even care?
Right?
You let that inner
Yeah,
voice in. You let her in hard on this one, but
I
you
did,
overcame
but
it. You used your
thank you.
your coping mechanisms and you used all of your skills in your little pocketbook and you pulled them
Yeah.
out and you got through it. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of you for that. And
Thanks. I
including
think it
me, including me.
thanks. I think it's really important to like do things that you find kind of like scary like that, because you are not only showing yourself you can do them, but like especially if you have kids, you're showing your kids like, you
Yeah.
know, they can do anything. Like they shouldn't listen to that kind of negative self-talk. And especially like, your kids look up to you, and you wouldn't want your kids to not do something just because they were afraid to do it, right? Like
Yeah.
you want your kids to feel like encouraged in who they are and their dreams and what they want to do. Like you would push them to do something that they were really excited to do. Like if
Yeah.
your daughter came to you and was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm passionate about cooking. Like I really want to write this cookbook." Like you would do everything in the world to
I
encourage
would.
her,
Yeah.
right? And so that's one of those things where if you're so excited about doing something like that, like you want to show her, "Hey, like this is possible. Like I'm going to do it. Like you should do these things that you're passionate about." And, it's so easy to say to do stuff like do that kind of stuff, but, you
To
know,
actually do it. To actually do
flipping
it.
the script is hard,
Yeah, it
and
is.
changing the way that you feel about yourself and how you think about those things is really hard. Um, it's not an easy task to change the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you think about yourself. So,
I agree. And I think that, therapy helps with that. Meds help with that. If you need them, if a doctor, we're not doctors here. We're
yeah.
just
No,
Asia and Monica.
definitely not.
But, I think that therapy helped me. I've been to therapy most of my life, putting in the work on,
Same.
my inner voice and trying to get a handle on my trauma that caused the inner voice to be so bad. When you work through all your trauma and you work through your addiction and you work through all your mental health issues, you get to a point where therapy is actually very, very beneficial because you have somebody telling you, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it. You have somebody patting you on the back, somebody giving you that encouragement to push you forward. And therapists are good for that. So I would recommend
Yeah.
anybody who finds themselves going in like a loop. Normally through fleeting feelings, you can just breathe through those and get through them. But if you find yourself, in a loop where you can't get out and you've tried everything, all your, coping skills, and you still can't get out, I think therapy is definitely,
Yeah,
a good
especially if
thing.
you recognize that maybe you don't even have any coping skills, because a lot of
Yeah.
people who have grown up in environments where there maybe was abuse, and I'm not even just talking about like physical abuse, I'm talking about emotional or mental abuse. There's all different kinds of types of abuse. If you don't see yourself having any coping mechanisms, and when I say that, if you don't even know what I'm talking about, that might be a good indication that you might not have any. Therapy is something that is really helpful, and there's so many different types of therapy now. I mean, it used to be you had to go to a therapist
Yeah.
office
God
and
forbid,
talk to
man.
somebody in person, and that's one of the things that's so beautiful about today.
Yes.
You
Yes.
don't even have to
Yes.
do that anymore. There's online therapy. There's you can do talk
Yeah.
therapy through text and email and
And
on the
Zoom
phone and
calls. You
Zoom
don't even
calls.
have to
Yeah,
drive anymore
you don't
now
have
and
to
get
go anywhere.
get
So
all worked
amazing.
up on the way
Right?
there. And
Yeah.
like that first encounter with the
So
doctor, it's so
it's so
awkward. And you're just
awkward.
like, why do I
Tell
have
me
to
your
go?
life story. I just
uh,
met you.
I don't really want to do this. I poop myself like almost on the way here with anxiety. I don't really want to do this.
So
You know what I mean?
so many people, like, the idea of meeting a stranger is so awkward, but then the idea of meeting a stranger and then having to share, like, the innermost details of your life, I mean, it's not for everyone,
No,
you
it's
know?
not. I loved when
And
everything went to Zoom. I loved just being able to pop on for
yes.
30 minutes, get it out of the way, not have to, get worked
Well,
up the day before on planning our conversations and how I'm going to talk to him and stuff. So I think therapy has gotten way better.
so much better, and not just that, it's like, 2, you realize that, something happens during the week and you like say your appointment's on Thursday, but on Monday is you're having all of this horrible self-doubt, and you have this meeting on Tuesday, and on Monday you're just so worked up about it and you can't get this negative feed out of your head, and Thursday's not going to help you. Your
Yeah.
appointment on Thursday is not going to do anything for your Tuesday problem. And the thing about those types of therapy now, you can email and text your therapist like
Yeah.
anytime and they'll just get back to you.
Right when they
It's kind
can.
of amazing,
It
actually.
really is. It is.
Yeah.
I think that people should check it out. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
lot of online, just Google, and check with if you have insurance, you know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah,
insurance,
some of them cover that.
yeah, they all just cover it now. Mental health is a big deal. So if you are having mental health issues, make sure that you seek doctors and therapists and get some help.
Yeah. We're, very much advocating for mental health, help.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
what are some things that you do that help you? Do you have coping
Yeah,
mechanisms that you
I
use?
try to like if I have a thought that just keeps popping up, I try to replace it with a positive thought. If I'm being a judgy bitch, I try
Yeah.
to we've talked about her.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm being judgy and I'm picking people apart, then I try to list 5 things about them that I see that I like, or traits that I want to be like. Because to go back, I think that's a big part of it. Judgy bitch, my inner bitch, my judgy bitch, she's worse than all the other ones. If I see somebody on the street, I pick them apart in my brain. I can't help it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that inner voice under control because I feel like my parents gave me that inner voice and I don't want to give it to my kids. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that judgy bitch to go through and, poison my kids and make my kids feel like mom's picking everybody apart. Cause I used to do it like out in the open. We'd be in the car. I'd be like, oh my God, look what she's wearing. Or, oh my God, look at that guy. And I would do that. And
Yeah.
I'm really trying to get that under control because it's something that then I noticed my kids were doing it. And then
Right.
they would feel a lot of awkwardness around people they didn't know because they were feeling like those people were judging them just as hard as I judge everybody. So
Yeah, because
I'm
then it
really,
teaches them that type of feedback too, because if, "Oh, mom's doing that, these people are probably doing that to us."
yeah,
Or,
everyone's thinking that way about
yeah,
me
or my
too.
peers are doing that to me, and then
Yeah.
it just is like a vicious cycle of negative feedback loop for them as well.
Did your parents do that with you? Did they pick people apart in front
Yes,
of you?
they
Because mine
did.
did. You know what I
They
mean?
definitely did, and that's actually something that I really love about Ramona is she doesn't tolerate that kind of stuff. Like, when
Oh,
she
that's
hears
awesome.
people saying stuff like that in front of her, she's always like, How does that affect you? What is her if she's wearing that, how does that affect you? That doesn't affect you, what she's wearing. It
Oh,
doesn't,
I love that about her.
it
I
doesn't
love that
impact
about her.
you." Yeah, and, why are you body shaming her? Or, why are
Wow.
you body shaming him?
Just
That
calling
has
you
nothing.
out.
Oh, yeah,
The
and
next generation's not fucking around, man.
it
They're not
doesn't even matter, it's if she's calling me out or, her grandmother out, like, it doesn't matter who
anybody.
she's calling.
Yeah.
She'll call out anybody, she doesn't care. Like,
That is awesome.
doesn't matter, yeah. And
I really
it makes me really proud of her because doesn't she doesn't like to see other people being judged, because I think she knows too, like, she doesn't want to be judged by other people. Like, she knows how that makes her feel. And so
yeah.
she doesn't want other people to feel that way either. And it's uncomfortable. So, and it makes me realize too how I look at people, like, I don't want to go out there looking at people negatively either, because I know how it feels to be put down and to be judged and to have that negative feedback in my head as well. So, and that's the thing is like, what a, it doesn't affect me what they're wearing. It doesn't affect me how they dress, how her hair looks, or how, his pants look. I mean, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't impact my life at all.
Yeah, and it's
So,
just been put into us. I think my mom and my dad did it a lot. They would just be like, "Oh my god, look at those people," and they still do it to this day. And it's just
yeah.
the older generation's way, and the new generation's not putting up with it. No body shaming, they're not putting up with any of it, and I just love it. I have to get on, I have to get on with them because I am the judgiest person, and I do it now very quietly to myself. But then myself I keep those thoughts and it's just dangerous. It's sick. It's gross. I don't
Yeah,
like it. I got to get out
I
of it.
know.
You know what I mean?
I'm the same
The
way.
only thing that works for me is to look at that person. And if my first thought is, oh my God, then I say, okay, well, I like their shoes and their hair looks nice. And, they seem to be a nice person. And oh my gosh, look at their car is nice. Like I try to look at something other than
Yeah.
what I'm picking them apart for
Yeah.
because it's just not healthy.
I always wonder too if sometimes the reason that I do that is because I'm feeling self-conscious or uncomfortable in myself in that moment, and if somehow I'm trying to like sort of make myself feel better in a way.
Yeah.
Like I know that part of it is probably like that's how I was raised to judge other people, but I also wonder if part of it is like I feel self-conscious or uncomfortable in myself and maybe I'm trying to make myself feel a little bit better by like almost putting other people down, and even if I'm not doing it to them out loud, even if I'm doing it in my head, like somehow I'm making myself
Feel
feel
better.
like superior to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It's not healthy.
No, it's definitely not healthy, and it's definitely something that should not be done, but unfortunately is
We
something
all
that
do it.
I
I think we all
do,
do
yeah.
it.
I think
Yeah.
everybody does it whether they want to admit to it or not. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
not
admitting
perfect
to it.
people.
I'm admitting to it. I have
Yeah.
been doing it for quite some time.
Raise your
What are
hand.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
me. It's all me. What are some things you do to help yourself with your inner
Um,
voice?
so actually I started doing this in therapy years and years ago, when I was going through, my divorce with Ramona's bio dad. I had really horrible self-esteem at the time, and I every time I had, like, a negative thought come into my head, I was supposed to write down, like, the opposite positive or the reverse positive thought. So, if I thought, like, "You're a terrible mother," I would have to write down like why I wasn't a terrible mother, like things that I was doing for Ramona that made me a good mom, or, people don't like you. Like I had to list like reasons why people did like me. And I had
Yeah.
to write it down instead of just thinking it, because then it's tangible, right? Like you can see it, you can read it, and you could go back to it. And I had it in a notebook, and then I would go back and reflect on it. So during the day, every time I had a negative thought come into my head, I would write it down. And then at the end of the day, I would go back and reread like all of the negative thoughts that came into my head. And oh my gosh, the first week that I did it, there were so many things in there. I just remember thinking how it was just crazy to me, like how many negative things like came up during the day. And that was like just what I was able to write down because,
Not
I
even
was busy
yeah.
with a toddler. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just shocked at how
Mean.
negative and mean I was
Yeah.
to myself. And I think that's when I really started to like actually start to love myself a little bit more, is when I realized how much I didn't like myself, and for reasons that I couldn't understand, but it really made me start to love myself a little bit more when I started doing that, cuz I'm
I'm
like
gonna
I,
have to
I
start
would
doing that. That's a really good
yeah,
yeah.
I think it made me realize like I couldn't imagine the things that I was writing down. I couldn't imagine Ramona writing those things down about herself, or
Yeah.
even somebody else that I loved writing those things
Yeah.
down about themselves, and just reading them just made me so sad for myself,
Yeah, that
and
you
it
knew you
was just
needed to
awful.
change. You knew you needed to
Yeah.
change that inner voice and get her on her bitchy ass, in
Yeah.
check. It's okay to have an inner voice. It's just it should be more positive affirmations in that voice. There should be more you're a beautiful person, you're a great mother. That voice should be telling you a lot more good stuff, not just
Yeah.
all the negative all the time.
No, and it doesn't have to be inflated like, "Oh, I'm,
Yeah.
the most amazing person in the world and I'm better than everybody." It doesn't have to be like that
No, it
either.
doesn't. It doesn't. It
Hey,
can
be
be just as
realistic, guys.
it can be just as simple as, okay, bitch, you got up this morning. Check.
Yeah.
You know what I
Way to
mean?
go.
Woo,
You
pat
put
on
on
the
some
back.
pants.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of you guys don't like pants. I'm not a leggings kind of gal. I do wear jeans most
Me too.
days.
Me
Don't
too.
judge me.
Don't don't judge my holy jeans, bitch.
I see those memes out there that are like, "What kind of serial killer wears jeans every day?" And I'm like,
Let me raise my
apparently
hand.
me."
I only
Sorry,
own like
guys.
one pair of leggings and I hate them. So I rarely
I
wear leggings. They fall down. Like I
Oh,
want something to
interesting.
stay
You're like
up.
I am.
I
I
am.
do
I'm
have
with you.
leggings, but, like, I literally wear them to work out and
That's it. Take them right off.
they're exercise pants, then I wash them. Sorry, I'm
She's
not like the rest of you people.
sorry, I'm so normal. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I do wear
That makes
jeans,
me
I
a
put them
serial
on.
killer.
Yeah, actual jeans. I
I
I feel
love
like
it.
the rest of you people are serial killers. I would
Yeah.
not wear leggings out in public except for maybe if I'm traveling on an airplane and it's gonna
Airplane.
be a
Yeah.
12-hour.
I'm
Actually,
with you
I
on that.
have tangent. I have, what I call my traveling pants, and my sister hates them. They, like, sag down to the knees. They're like
My travel
Buddha exercise they're like Buddha pants, like yoga pants,
like
and
MC Hammer pants, like Hammer time.
yes,
Oh my
yes, that's
gosh.
what they
Are
look
you
like.
kidding me?
Yeah, and she got really mad at me because when we were in, I think, London or something, and I, like, kinda, like, straddled, like, my legs out, and then I started going, traveling pants," and then was shaking my hips around, and she was like, "Oh my god, stop
Stop.
doing that."
I would have been pulling MC Hammer in the middle of the airport. I would have been like, Hammer time. And like all the way
Yeah.
across in front of
Hey, I was
everybody.
really feeling myself in those pants, actually.
Oh man, those sound
They're pretty
comfortable.
amazing.
They
They
sound
were
pretty
really
comfortable.
comfortable. At that point, I think I had been awake for, like, I don't know,
Oh
probably,
my
like,
gosh.
18 hours or something.
She's like, I'm punchy at this point. Okay. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
it was really great, actually. Um, I think another thing, that I think is really important, back on topic here.
End of
Another
tangent. End of
end of
tangent.
tangent, back on topic here. Another thing that I think is really important, for helping with the negative inner voice is cutting out toxic people because I think that really adds to, like,
Amen.
negativity in your life,
Yeah.
and
Or put
I
up some boundaries. Boundaries help.
or
You
at
don't have
least
to always,
putting up
yeah, you don't
boundaries.
always have to end it because I have some people in my life that I'm not allowed. It wouldn't serve me to not have them in
Yeah.
my life. But I do have some decent sized boundaries that those people know you don't fuck with me on this, or that.
I always try with the boundaries first and then see how it goes, but I
Yeah.
feel like some people just don't understand boundaries. They just don't get it. They're not, like, quote, woke enough for the boundaries. And when you
Woke
try
enough.
with them,
I
hey, I'm
like that.
using
Wait, hang on. I like that one. Woke enough. They're
they're
not
not
woke
woke
enough.
enough. They just don't like they just don't understand how boundaries work, or they just don't respect
They don't
them,
respect them.
or
They
they don't
want to
respect you.
Yeah, they want
Yeah.
to violate them. They want to show you
Yeah.
that, your boundary's pretty stupid and that they can do what they want. And that's those
Yeah.
people need to be out of your life. The
And
people
so
that
I just yeah.
yeah, the people that want to challenge boundaries, I don't have any time for that. I don't. And I'll call them out in front of everybody, be like, "Hey, look, you just violated one of my boundaries, so you're on notice, bro. Don't do it again."
Yeah. I think it's really important to, like, be very communicative when you have boundaries and make sure people know that because some people too, you'll start putting boundaries in place, but if you're not telling people like, "Hey, like, I have a firm
Calling them
boundary
out.
line right
Yeah,
now."
you got to call
Yeah.
them out.
Like, they're not
If
gonna
they
know.
go against the boundary, I don't care who's around. I'll be like, "Hey, look, no, not fucking with me. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah.
doing that with me. If you're gonna mess with me, no." And I just nip it in the bud right there. Just say nope, even
Yep.
if it's
I
embarrassing
agree.
for them, because my boundaries are very important to me, and that's what my boundaries keep them in my life. So they better be important to them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because without those boundaries, those people would not be in my life, and they wouldn't have access to me or my children. So it's very important that they respect my boundaries. And I think that with people that are toxic, or the people that have put those negative thoughts into your mind your entire childhood, those people need boundaries and or to be out of your life because they will contribute even if you're
Yeah.
in therapy.
I've tried really hard to, like, have healing relationships with my parents and, like, years on, years off of no talking and trying to have those, like, hard conversations with them, and they just, like, don't get it, and
No.
they don't understand where I'm coming from or even how to heal, and I get these kind of, like, sort of half apologies for things, and I recognize, like, people make mistakes and, parents aren't perfect, and I am one, so I understand that, and I
Yeah.
make a lot of mistakes, and I let Ramona know, like, I'm not a perfect parent, and I do make a lot of mistakes, but I think there's something to be said for a parent who tries to rectify a situation and, explain, even why they maybe made decisions. And my parents never have even attempted those things. And, one of my parents is just like so oblivious to the fact that there was even mistakes made. And I
That's
just,
hard. That's
yeah.
hard.
And I feel like in those situations, it's kind of like, okay, well, you can have your idea of how things were and I can have my idea of how things were, but that doesn't mean, that a relationship is the best course of action
Yeah.
right now, especially for my mental health and,
Yeah.
or for my daughter's mental health because, she's part of the equation too.
Yeah. And I agree. I lucked out. I got super lucky. My mom, she was never abusive. She was more neglectful with me and my
Yeah.
brothers. It was way more neglect going on. And the abuse happened from other people, outside sources. So my mom was never really abusive to me. But I
Yeah.
would say that she has, in the last 15 years of being sober, clean and sober, she's said sorry every single year for the things that she's done to me. She'll openly, in a meeting at Narcotics Anonymous, say, I was a shitty mom. She'll say it. She'll own it, even though it hurts because she
Yeah.
was. And that means a lot to me and my brothers because it's not the denial that we're used to. It's the accountability, the ownership of it. And if moms and dads do that, if they just, parents, any kind of parents do that, if they say, you know what, I fucked up and I'm sorry and I'm going to try to rectify it. I'm going to try to do better for your kids now because I know I wasn't a good parent. That means everything to a kid. Even if
Yeah.
you're 36, 39 like me and your mom's
Yeah. I think so
barely
too.
coming in, it means a lot.
Right.
It means a lot.
Yeah. I think it's never too late in those types of situations, even for like adult children to have their parents come in and say those types of things. I think it's
Yeah,
really
it helps
important,
with the inner voice
especially,
too, because then you can
yeah.
go back and say, okay, well, during those times when she was instilling that inner voice in me, she was a whole piece of shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So maybe her perception of me wasn't even that great to begin with because of her, not me. And it wasn't
Yeah.
ever me.
It's
And then you
definitely
can
a
really
healing thing.
dissect it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And break it down and say, you know what? She was fucked up. I was a good kid. You know what I mean? And I'm still a good person. If you look in the mirror every day, when you wake up and you say, you know what? You're a good person. You deserve all good things to happen to you. You deserve happiness and love. And you tell yourself that. It takes a few days, maybe a few weeks before you start to believe it, but you will start to believe it. And you will walk a little higher, your shoulders back a little bit more, and your face up, making eye contact. You'll feel that way about yourself after you put it in. You have to sometimes be the one to put it in. You know what I mean? We're adults now. We don't have
Yeah.
anybody coming in saying, pat on the back, you're doing a great job and nothing.
Don't you wish you had somebody like you just woke up every morning and somebody just came in
Yeah,
and just like
coach.
swooped in? It was like, "Hey, Monica, man, you know what? Good morning.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you what an amazing person you are. Just like, wait, good morning, happy day. Here's like 5 things that you did so good yesterday.
I
Just
know,
keep
right?
up the great work." I wish. You just have
We,
your own personal little cheerleader.
little hype man in the corner. You're
Could
like, I
you
need a hype man
imagine?
today.
That'd
And
be
he
great.
comes running out and he's like, I'm here, I'm your hype man. What do you need? That'd be awesome. No, I think we have to be our own hype man. We really have to
We do.
take that time and look in the mirror, not just say it to yourself, look in the mirror, make eye contact with yourself and say, hey, you're a
We
good
should
fucking
all just do
person
that. Write down 5 things and say that to ourselves the next
every
day.
morning. Yeah.
Monica, what a great job you did of these
Yeah.
5 things yesterday.
And don't pick yourself apart because you're already doing that enough when you're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? When you're not thinking about anything, you're thinking about the shit you didn't do right. So
Right?
you have to intentionally put those good thoughts into your mind if you want to change your inner dialogue.
You said yours is louder at night.
Yes. Oh, wait,
You got to
way
be your
louder.
hype man at night. So write your 5 things down, hype yourself up at night before you go to bed, and I'll do mine
Yeah.
in the morning.
All right,
We'll
sounds good. I
reconvene.
mean, if you say your positive affirmations right before bed, it does help. It helps a lot. And I have a sound machine and I also run 2 fans because I don't know about you guys, but my voice is loud and those drown her out a little bit. They help me calm, the fans, the
Yeah.
noise
Tell
machine. It gets
your
like a
inner
little
judgy voice to shut up.
shut up. And then I don't do internet or TV for like an hour prior to bed. I try not to do any of that because that also puts in a lot of like
Oh, I
thoughts in
think
my
just what
brain. It puts in a
yeah,
lot of
what you consume
thoughts.
before bed will definitely contribute
It'll
to that.
contribute. If you're watching TikToks right before bed, you go to bed with so much shit in your mind and you're trying to decipher like what's needed and what's not. It's ridiculous. So I try to do the hour before, no not even TV, just chill, let my brain think without anything being forced into it. And it helps a lot. It helps the inner voice at night just calm down a little bit. And I also do breathing exercises. I do like a lot of like meditative breathes. Like I do long breath and then a short breath, long breath and a short breath, so that I can get myself relaxed and I focus on my breathing and not my inner voice.
Square breathing. That's what I used to teach Ramona.
What's that?
That's
What
like
did you call it?
square breathing. That's like kind of what you're talking about. It's like you're supposed to do
7 minutes in, 7 seconds in,
7 minutes.
hold.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hold it
that
for
would
7 minutes.
that
Let's
would
see
be
where
really
that
good.
gets you. You're supposed to do a 4 counts in, 8 counts out, I think. So as long as it's like supposed to be twice as long out as you breathe in. And
Yep,
then you do it it's like 4 counts in, out, in, out.
that
So
works. It
like a
works.
square.
Well, okay, now I get why it's called that.
Yes.
It took me a second.
I was
No,
like, I'm not explaining this right, but in my head, I'm visualizing it.
the breathing works. At nighttime for me, I pick myself apart. I take the whole day and I dissect it, and then I try to like compartmentalize and put it all away in its little spaces. And so for me, if I do the breathing and I try to keep it like consistent too. I try to keep my night times consistent and my mornings as consistent as possible. So it does help with the inner voice. It shuts her up. It calms her down. You know what I mean? On bad days, I might need a little bit more help, like a Tylenol PM or something. But yeah, nighttime suck. Don't know about you.
Yeah. No, I think mornings are worse for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well,
Well,
I think we have a lot of good suggestions in here for shutting your inner voice up, telling her, you know what, bitch, none of this. I'm over it.
yeah, I agree. I think these are some good resources, and the
Yeah.
internet has a lot more. Like I said, if you Google, there's so many
Yeah, there is.
skills that in the little repertoire.
Yeah. All right, guys. You've listened to Everything's Fucked podcast. You know what? Everything's fucked. Sometimes in the best way, sometimes not. I hope you guys find us at Everything's Fucked on Instagram. You guys can contact us there, or you can contact us at our website, everythingsfuckedpodcast.com. And we hope you guys will join us next time. Thank you for listening. Rate
Yeah,
us.
thank you for joining us. We had a great time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.